Mother Nature wins today. Game 4 has been postponed to tomorrow, so the Cubs will have to wait one more day to try and wrap up the series. But did knocking out the Nationals just become more difficult? Could Washington send Steven Strasburg to the mound to try and keep their season alive tomorrow? And last but not least, the Mitch Trubisky era is underway, and it starts the same as the Mike Glennon era ended, with a loss, but it was closer. So what can we take away from the rookie's first NFL game? Welcome into Sports Talk Live, presented by the Chevy Silverado. I'm Layla Rahimi because David Kaplan got rained out at the ballpark. Let's meet the panel for today's show. From ESPN 1000, we have Chris Bleck. From Bleacher Report and the Big Ten Unfiltered podcast, Seth Gruen. And from The Athletic, Kevin Fishbane, who's not with any Cheez-Its that he keeps at Hallis Hall. I'm already disappointed. All right, so we begin with the obvious. It's why I'm sitting here right now. No baseball at Wrigley. Game 4 postponed until tomorrow afternoon. First question I want to know is this somehow karma for that Brewers game back earlier this season? You know the one I'm talking about, guys.
Well, it kind of works out perfectly for the Nationals, right? Strasburg into Scherzer. And the Cubs look at Arrieta tomorrow, so we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, I think if the Nationals are smart here, they'll come back with Strasburg, right? You take advantage of the gifts that Mother Nature has given you, and Steven Strasburg took a no-hitter into the 5th inning. There's no question that he has a handle on how to pitch to this lineup, and I'd come back with him, especially because if you're a Nationals fan, you just don't have a lot of confidence in Tanner Roark. This is definitely a major blow to the Cubs' chances of closing it out in 4.
If you're Theo Epstein and Tom Ricketts, you're having very interesting conversations, I think, with Major League Baseball and TBS. Because if the reports are true that both teams wanted to play at 1 p.m. today, and the network said no shot, I mean, they could have easily gotten this game in today if they decided to do it earlier. I understand the TV network's reasoning, and they would much rather have it tomorrow at 3 o'clock as opposed to, what's going on today. But if the Cubs, it favored them to play today. They wanted to play today against Roark, as you said. It's a tough situation for all sides. But if you're the Cubs, I could be frustrated about this situation.
We're hearing a bit of conflicting reports as to what time that was discussed. The other problem is that it really was supposed to hinge on what happened last night with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. So at least we knew a little bit earlier what time this game was supposed to be. So it could have been a much worse situation, or oddly enough, the same situation.
Yeah, I'm not really in favor of, I don't love the idea of the uncertainty of the timing of the games. I think that can throw certain guys off. I don't think it's great for the fans. I would not have liked the idea of, at the last minute, moving the game up. I don't think that's fair to the fans at all. And I don't understand why the Nationals would want to do that either. I mean, again, I think this is an incredible advantage to them right now because now they have options as to who they start tomorrow.
It was kind of silly, though, sitting at Wrigley Field. I mean, watching on TV, there's no rain, and they have a delay. I understood why they did it, because they didn't want to start and then have to stop knowing they're going to start. They should have just postponed it immediately, just saw what was going on. Don't have to have the guys going to the ballpark. They saw the forecast. They should have just postponed it, moved down to tomorrow.
It is such a funny thing because rain delays are such an arbitrary decision in baseball, right, as it is. Each park, each umpiring crew, they all have a say in this. Networks have a say in this somewhat, but it's a situation that could have been avoided, but at the cost of who? The fans, I think, also, because let's face it, who's off work at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday? And now you have to be off work at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. People pay good money for this. They want to see the game.
Yeah, it would have been totally unfair to the fans. And I think that from that standpoint, Major League Baseball made the right decision. I can understand why the Cubs are pushing for an earlier start, because it's about winning the game, moving on to the next round, and that's what the fans want too. But it's a business. And I think that there's a reason Major League Baseball has these late afternoon games. It's because they want each to have the largest audience possible. That's why they don't go head-to-head with one another. So I agree with the decision on the part of Major League Baseball. I think it's unfortunate that it comes probably to the detriment of the Cubs. But in my mind, the way to go.
You know what? They've got the number 1, 2, and 3 markets in the country in the playoffs. Everybody should be pretty happy. The only people who lose here are the ones who wanted to watch this game today. So for the latest and what this means for this series moving forward, let's bring in from Wrigley Field, David Kaplan and David DeJesus. Are you guys at least dry? Are you dry?
Evaluation, guys. We are absolutely hanging in there. Danny Wysocki did an amazing job with the crew out here, with Mark Harper, who is the best at putting on these type of events, and Brett Fisher's here, Eric Fogel, I saw Corby Guff, Luke Stuckmeyer. We're ready to rock and roll, right?
Yes, here we go.
Little rain's not going to hurt anybody. I don't understand why they're not playing in this. You baseball players are just so soft.
Yeah, right. Football, soccer, they all play in this,
They
right?
play through the rain.
Exactly. Yeah, we're tough. We're the non-tough guys,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Look, this comes, I thought you put it right, Leo, that comes at the detriment of the Cubs simply because you're going to have Steven Strasburg run out there tomorrow and not Tanner Roark. But you got to play the game, and you got to go out and find a way to win a baseball game tomorrow. He's a great pitcher. You beat him once, you got to do it again.
Yes, you got to do it again. Now, it could have been the game one matchup, Arrieta versus Strasburg, but it's now you have a little tape on what Strasburg did to the Cubs hitters. Now you can look at that tape, try and adjust to that, and you have a game plan around that last pitching performance because he wants to do that again. So he's going to mimic the stuff that had success in that first game. So the Cubs hitters now have that tape so they can counteract that plan.
You know, it's interesting as you guys are debating back there that it was dry at 4:08 and everyone's saying, what's going on? They knew this was coming in, and they knew this was coming in hard, and that's why this thing never started. Rob Manfred's been in contact. Joe Torre is here. Theo, Jed, Joe Madden, they were in the Nationals clubhouse explaining here's what's going on. Mike Rizzo, the GM of the Washington Nationals, was there. Dusty, obviously, and they all were in agreement. There's no way we can start this baseball game.
Yeah, you can't do this. You can't risk losing pitchers and someone getting hurt. Bryce Harper got hurt and slipped on a base. You know, you don't want it to blow out and then have that injury cause a playoff loss. So it's a smart decision to all come together. They all made a plan. And now they know going forward that tomorrow, hopefully, the weather clears up.
Yeah, it is what it is. And tomorrow you go out and try and beat Strasburg. And if you can't, you get on a plane, you go to Washington, you try and find a way to beat Gio Gonzalez. Cubs have to win one of the final two. We'll see if they can turn the trick. Tomorrow, again, 3:08. Don't forget, we'll get you set and take you right up till top of the hour at 3 o'clock tomorrow with our pregame show brought to you by the Fields Auto Group. For David, I'm Cap. Let's go back to you guys in the nice and dry studio.
Well, hopefully you get to enjoy what's left out there at the ballpark, guys. Thanks. I only have so many blue dresses, guys. I can't keep doing this. I'm really inconvenienced here. Okay, moving on. This is a day after a Bears game, and it came down to Mitch Trubisky, and he didn't look bad.